Good morning and welcome to the Sabi Sands, South Africa. We're here on Djuma and Arathusa, and it's a beautiful overcast morning. It was very misty this morning, so really happy to be out this morning weather-wise, and we do have some treats lined up for you. As some of you may know who were watching yesterday, some lions managed to kill a buffalo yesterday in the morning, and they are still there. We drove past them on the way to work this morning, on the way in from the Manyaleti, and there were quite a few hyena in the area, so we will make our way there. But in the meantime, we have found 2 sets of leopard tracks heading down this very road. The tracks do look fresh, and it's hard to tell exactly what could be going on. It could well be a male and a female looking at the tracks, and the fact that Karula did lose her cubs means that there's a strong chance she'll be mating. So who knows, possibly it's her and Mvula, or another male leopard and another female leopard, but there are tracks of, in all likelihood, a male and a female heading down this road. They do look fresh, definitely from last night, and judging from the crispness of the tracks, I think that they could well be from the early hours of this morning, so hopefully we're going to find them. This morning we have Jason on camera.
Morning.
And sadly Jigga is playing up again. As we try to leave this morning, Jigga wouldn't start, so Mark and VM were stranded at Manyaleti, and they are doing everything in their power to fix Jigga. So sadly it's just going to be myself out for the first part of the morning, and in all likelihood the whole morning, but hopefully by this afternoon both vehicles will be back out. Now, the tracks that we are following down this road, I'm guessing in all likelihood aren't going to veer off immediately, but at some point they will leave this road. The tricky thing when tracking is that following these tracks to look at every individual footprints would be very time consuming, and if the animals are a way away, you would never actually catch up to them. So I'm going to drive down this road at a relative speed and just keep checking for tracks as we drive. But this road does vary in the ability to see tracks easily, depending on the actual substrate of the road as we go along. It is easier in some sections than others, but they do still appear to be going down the road. Here's an easy section here, very sandy. And they are indeed still heading down this road, and the tracks are looking very, very crisp and fresh. The crisper and more defined the track is, obviously leads you to believe that it is fresher. It hasn't had time to crumble in on itself and lose its definition. So these tracks are looking very good, and it's not often you follow tracks of 2 leopards down the same road. With a little bit of luck, we are going to find them, and they will be mating. Just a reminder, and if there are any new viewers, especially to any new viewers, welcome on board. And just a reminder that we can interact with one another. You can ask questions to me at any stage of the drive, and Alex will feed them through to me. And the way to do that is hashtag Safari Live on Twitter, or questions at wildearth.tv on email. The tracks of the leopard are still heading down this road. Now, excuse me for a second, I'm just going to update the Game Drive channels on these tracks, because I'm sure people will be interested in following up here, or helping us to follow up on these animals. And they may also have some information on the lion that I did mention briefly earlier, the lion that have killed a buffalo yesterday. They are still there. We drove past them on the way in this morning. There wasn't a huge amount happening, so there's no rush to get there, but we will certainly be going there a bit later. demonstrations tracks of a Madoda and Mafazi Ingwe heading down Zoe's Road towards Balanites. I'm following up here. Okay, now, because we've arrived at a junction, it's going to have offered these leopards 3 different major routes. So I will just jump out here quickly to check which route they decided to take. I can still see one track just behind us here, heading straight down here, and I can actually see one just ahead there, but I'm going to double check quickly. Okay, well, the good news is they do continue straight. The other nice thing about stopping, even though it's just briefly, is that if they are in fact mating, we would be able to hear that audio. It's a very distinctive audio that they make just after they have performed the act of mating. There's often a short burst of growls that you can hear, which does make finding mating leopard easy, finding a leopard that's not mating, because you do have this audio to work off. There are also, folks, to let you know my kind of theory behind what we're doing this morning is that obviously finding mating leopards would be the jackpot, so we're going to follow these tracks. But also there are a lot of vehicles that are tending to go straight towards the thing, which is the lion, rather than looking for animals, and that's fine. But there are a lot of vehicles that are essentially queued up in a rotation to be able to go into that sighting and view those animals. So we'll let that initial mayhem unwind and head off into our own area, and then once everyone's had enough of the lions, we will hopefully, well, we certainly will be able to find a time to get in there. But there is a limit of 3 vehicles per sighting, and that is great. I wouldn't want it any other way, because anything more than that puts too much pressure on the animals and just detracts from the experience for anyone in the sighting. So it's certainly a very good procedure to have 3 vehicles per sighting, and then the guides will use the radio to create a lineup of standbys. It's incredible how far these leopards have moved. They are still going down the road here, which is wonderful. Just giving Alex a thumbs up there, folks. Okay, copy. Thanks for that update, Alex. Thank you. Now, my one little concern is that these animals are heading towards an area fairly close to our boundary, so I'm hoping they don't cross out, but we've still got a fair distance before they do cross out, if they do go that far. tracks of Madoda Mafazi Ingwe continue south down Balanites from Zoe's Junction. Okay, the fact that there is impala here fighting is great to see, but it does concern me as to where the leopard could be. Just going to keep quiet so you can hear their horns clashing. Oh. These look like all relatively young bulls, so practicing for years ahead. But I guess this rutting season that is coming up now, around March, anywhere from March to May, there's a 1 month rutting period where these impala will compete ferociously with one another for small territories. And the territories that they fight for then lure in the females, so they acquire the property first, and they do that by fighting. I've actually found 2 impala in all my time that have been killed by other impala during the rut. So it can be a fight to the death, which is not what we're going to see here, but still incredible to see how they can fight with those horns with such precision. Now, the leopard tracks. What to do about the leopard tracks? Go ahead. Copy, thanks. I'm fairly nearby. I'm just going to continue on this Madoda and Mafazi Ingwe Mkonzo for a while, but then make my way there if I don't have any luck. Ooh. The Game Drive channel is chaos this morning, folks. So forgive me if I am spending a lot of time on the radio or stopping to listen. Now, just gonna get out and have a look over here. I'll leave Jason to show you these impala fighting while I have a quick look around for these tracks. Well, I chose the long way around there. The tracks did continue straight down this road. I just didn't see any nearby the vehicle, and that's why I ended up veering off quite drastically. So these leopards obviously passed by before the impala came into this area, because they all look quite relaxed. So maybe I was wrong about the tracks and how fresh they were. They certainly are from last night, and we will continue down this road in the hope that we'll just get a better indication of where they may have headed. This is the boundary that I was talking about that they are arriving at. But it will be useful even just for the other guides that can work other areas that we may not be allowed onto, to know the whereabouts of these animals. Okay. Well, the good news is, even though the leopards may be coming across this road in the wrong direction to an area where we can't go, there were line tracks heading into our property, which is great. And the leopard tracks I sadly have lost sight of altogether, but they were not far behind us, so they could have veered off this road at any stage. Okay. Folks, sorry I have been on and off the vehicle so much this morning, but it does need to happen from time to time. Okay. So the line tracks I saw headed in this direction, and what we're going to do is loop around this block and see if we cannot find any more tracks of them. I did also have a report on the radio of other lions also crossing in this direction, so things are looking good, lots of good prospects. Just going to got a question come through from Sharon in Memphis. Good morning, Sharon. How are you doing? Sharon asked why I sometimes drag my foot along the ground and creates a bit of a line when I am off the vehicle looking at the tracks. And the reason for that is just to create a very clear mark for anybody that's coming to look for these tracks later, or even just myself, if we're returning later to look at the tracks. There's a very clear mark showing people where to look for the tracks. So that is the reason for it, simply just to make it easier to follow up later. As the day progresses, it becomes harder and harder to see the tracks as the sun becomes directly above you. So I just stopped there. These line tracks are heading in the opposite direction, but then eventually did cut in a northerly direction. So what we are going to do is take the next road that will loop us around in their general direction. Although actually now the lion tracks are heading back down this road, so they're obviously up and down here, possibly hunting. And I think this should be our best road for now to check. But thank you for that question, Sharon. Again, folks, I'd just like to reiterate, it's chaos on the Game Drive channel today. There's a lot of different sightings, and on top of that there's a lot of vehicles out, so I've got a non-stop stream of what is sadly mainly not most useful information coming through to me, but I do need to keep on, because obviously the not so useful information will be some very useful information. So I do need to keep it on, and it will just affect my ability to converse with you for a while. Now, even though there are no lion tracks here that I can see on the road, it's not bothering me, because the lions were moving in this general area, and the roads are our best options for looking for them. So initially we'll loop all of the roads in an area where the tracks are. If we don't come up with anything, then we may need to search more intently and get off the vehicle and potentially head off into the blocks where the roads cannot take us. Okay. Some more leopard tracks here heading in the opposite direction. Well, judging by the amounts of tracks around, folks, there's a lot of cats moving this area. Lions and leopards. We've seen numerous tracks this morning. So hopefully it's not going to take long for us to find one of them. Well, who knows? It's not unheard of to see lion and leopard in the same sighting. If lion smell the kill that a leopard may have made, they'll often try and steal it from them, which can be great to view, because lions aren't good climbers, and a clever leopard will have put its kill up a tree. Confirm last station was looking for Scots. I didn't find the where their last tracks looked to have crossed south over Rebecca's Gowrie Main. Yeah, tracks of my daughter and Mafazi headed all the way from Zoe's down onto Rebecca's all the way south. I didn't find the actual tracks crossing Gowrie Main, but I'm sure they did. Okay, copy. Well, sadly no tracks have popped up here, but I am going to continue. I'm kind of torn as to what to do, because it is, like I said, a confirmed sighting of the lion and the buffalo kill. Sorry folks, I'm just going to try and get an update as to what's going on the radio here. But like I was saying, that there's always the toss-up of going to look for, or looking for new animals and the unknown, as opposed to going to something guaranteed. Okay, cool. So those are the questions you've got to ask yourself when weighing up where to go and what to do. Would you rather search for something more exciting that is less guaranteed, or go to something that is more guaranteed but therefore less excitement? But for now, I think we are going to go for the less excitement route, and I'll tell you why when we get there. Station controlling the Ngala sighting on Vuyatela. Okay, copy, thanks. I'd like to join you as a second. I'm just at quarantine. Okay, what have we here now? Some hyena, quite a large hyena at that, though, and that's what got my attention. Sometimes you get hyena with exceptionally large paw prints, and they can often catch you out, and you can assume they're a lion. Okay, well, we are not far away from these lions, so in the next few minutes we should be there. Just something to look forward to. So kind of opposite plans to the other vehicles that all started there, and I'm not now searching for animals. We started by searching for animals and now are returning to what we always knew was there. Usually I wouldn't be in any rush to go to a sighting where lions have been feeding on a buffalo for 24 hours, because there tends to be not too much going on, and especially with all the tracks we've been having this morning of other potential excitement, I would have been more inclined to look for other animals. But this morning is different, because on our way to work we saw these lion, and we saw probably 10 hyena in that general area. Possibly more were in the surroundings that we couldn't see. And for this area in the Sabi Sands, or anywhere in the Sabi Sands, to see that many hyena together is uncommon. So that's something to look forward to in itself. And then the other thing to potentially look forward to is that The fact that there are so many hyenas together, if they all band together, they could well overthrow these lions from their kill. On the other end of the spectrum, they could simply just be waiting for the lion, and that's in all likelihood what they will do. They'll simply wait for the lion to be finished. But if we are there when that happens, we'll see a lot of hyena fighting over one another for the scraps. So we have got some good potential excitement up ahead. I also can't remember when last I did see lion, actually, so it will be very nice to lay eyes on them, other than this morning, obviously, on the way into work. But we didn't spend long with them. We needed to get in and sort the vehicles out, get them ready for action, put the cameras on. And again, just to recap for any of you, those of you who may have joined recently on this morning's drive, sadly Jigger is playing up again and wouldn't start this morning when we tried to leave camp, so Jigger is on the mend again. I'm going to try and go through here as slowly as possible because these wildebeest in the road do look awfully comfortable.
That one's brand new.
It does look brand new. A very, very late birth, folks, that we've obviously just missed by minutes. It can hardly stand up. You can see it's still wet. Wow, look at this. Absolutely incredible. Now, this specific female has given birth very, very late relative to the other wildebeest in this herd and all the other wildebeest in the area, really. So it is interesting. It certainly is very interesting. Shame she's just trying to make sure that she doesn't lose her calf amongst all of the other wildebeest. There's Brian's mother with the deformed horn. So this individual had one of its youngsters named after Brian, or Brian was named after one of the youngsters, either way, Brian the cameraman. And it's easy to tell her apart with that distinctive horn. And that would have been about 3 weeks ago, folks, that the majority of this herd started dropping their calves. Incredible. Here's a little gap here. You can still, the umbilical cord still completely wobbly, as are its legs. You can see, oh, time to lie down. Absolutely incredible, folks. We've just missed this birth. And I can say that with confidence because we've been absolutely spoilt with wildebeest births this year. We've managed to capture 4 different births on film, one of which was my first birth ever and my first drive for WildEarth. I can hear some alarm calls from impala nearby here, folks, as well, so that is something that I'm listening to. I'm just wondering what the best way is to try and get to where the calls are coming from. Well, good to have a new member to this herd of wildebeest that we have been following so closely. And we certainly will keep an eye on it. It will be easy to distinguish between the other individuals. I mean, to give you an idea of how far behind it is, Romeo, why don't you try and focus on this one to the further left, and then you can see its horns protruding. Yeah, even that one there. So these are anywhere from kind of 3 weeks to a month old, and all quite similar looking in terms of size, whereas the new youngster that's just walked off with its mother is a long way behind. Well, that was a pleasant surprise. Very, very pleasant surprise, folks. But we shall continue. Well, there's a lot of alarm calling down to our right. And sadly, there are no vehicles that can get us there, no roads that can get us there very easily. So, we'll sadly have to pass up on that information that the impala are trying to give us and continue on to the lion. Really would be interesting to know if the tracks of those two leopard were indeed Karula and Mvula, and it wouldn't surprise me if it was her, because I've seen a leopard lose her cubs, and as soon as a week later she was mating, so this would have been 3 days later for Karula, and there's nothing stopping her from coming into season shortly after losing cubs. That'll be interesting to monitor, and hopefully property that the tracks did listen to, the guys there got the message and can hopefully manage to find whoever they are, whichever leopard they are, and let us know. Well, I believe there's quite a few people that are saying we should call the new wildebeest Hayden, and I'm certainly happy with that. So why not? That's Hayden, the new wildebeest, and thankfully, like I said, because it is considerably smaller than its cousins, we should be able to monitor it quite closely. And just to inform some of you who may not know Hayden spent a few weeks presenting before myself and Mark took over. It was Hayden and Peter Pretorius, Hayden Turner. So nice of you to remember Hayden and want to name a wildebeest after him, those of you who suggested it, and I think it's a great idea. So Hayden it is. Now we are getting close to the action, folks. We should start to see hyena around any one of these corners, and I'm actually just going to ask if you don't mind turning on the GoPro there. Okay, good. Well, where we can see all these birds in the road now, just up ahead of us, this area was covered in hyena this morning on our way into work. You can see all their tracks even on the road where they've been lying, but now there is no sign of them. Who knows where they've gone? Time will tell once we've managed to explore this area a little bit more. Quite a few vultures in the area. also to start painting the picture of what we are seeing coming in. It's a hooded vulture there, the smallest vulture we get in this area. And now, even if we didn't know that there were a lion in this area, and we were arriving for our first time now, we certainly would be ready for, excuse me, we would certainly know that something is going on here, because there are a lot of hyena. Oh, and there's a lion. But as you can see, he is doing what lions do well when they are full-bellied, and that is sleeping. There's also another individual just behind him to the left, which Romeo is going to find for you now. There we go. That's the view we have from this angle of the other individual. And as far as I'm aware from the updates I got from Alex and Mark, who were out yesterday, there were 3 individuals here, 3 members of the Birmingham Pride or Coalition. We're not sure where the other 2 members are, so that is something interesting to think about, because these 5 brothers are still young and certainly not dominant. So if they potentially came across the dominant coalition of lion, they may have been split up and run for their lives, and hence why we found them now split up. Oh, we can watch them stretch out here for a moment, and they often do this too. Okay, interesting. Alex is just feeding me some information, folks, that he's got through on the other members of, or at least one member of this Birmingham coalition, and it's the biggest, blondest maned member of the coalition, and quite easy to distinguish him from the others. And he was seen mating with a female from the Salati Pride, so that's where he is. Another hooded vulture. Because they're small, and the smallest of the vultures, it does allow them to try and steal them. They often actually also do eat the lion's droppings, so maybe it's looking for some lion poop for breakfast. Wouldn't that be an interesting thing to snack on? Well, even though he's lying down, because he's not doing a lot, because he is so close, we've just got such a remarkable view of him here. That sounds like an orange-breasted bushshrike calling. You can hear it. It's a very, very pretty bird. And it certainly is calling a lot. Oh, nice, there's a hyena in the road. So, the hyenas still are here, and that makes me excited. Because where there are these creatures slinking around, there's a strong chance of some action. Let's actually go across to it and have a look at what it's doing, where it's coming from. Because they are active, these lion, we can come back to and watch them sleep. But the hyena, on the other hand, ooh, look at this. Let's see if it comes and chews on what I've just seen in the road, just the tail of the buffalo. So with a bit of luck, this hyena is going to come up and chew on this tail. Nope. We've got Texan, another game viewer, is also in this area. I'm just going to have a quick chat with him and see what the update is of his little trip off-road. Just going to reverse a tiny bit. Sorry, Jason, I know you've just got that shot. I just want to reverse to make space for him. do we go up there and see what these hyena are doing? I think we should go up there rather and see what these hyena are doing. So the buffalo tails ended up in the road. I'm not sure where the carcass is, but we are going to do our best to find it. I'm sure we will. So now these hyena will be very cautious of the fact that there are lion in the area here, folks. So due to that fact, they're going to be slinking around you very carefully. Morning, Tex. How are you doing? Yeah, very good, thanks. Morning, folks. How are you doing? Where's the Nyama, Tex?
Just right aware that.
Okay. Cool. I saw that too, track. Okay. And is there anything happening there? Nothing.
We're just checking that.
Okay. Sorry, folks. I haven't been watching the monitor, but I can turn around now and see what you guys have been watching and how awesome. The hyena is really having a good time there. I'm wondering what it's rolling itself in. It could well be feces or urine from another animal. From another hyena.
You said somewhere close to.
But it certainly was entertaining to watch, and now they're hopefully going to walk straight past us, folks. Wow, they're coming right up alongside us. This is awesome. Look at this, folks. They've got that food driving them.
I got another one.
That was great, folks. Again, folks, so I'm just letting you know about the radio that's going on in my ear. It's mayhem this morning. So it is making conversing with you guys a little bit trickier than normal. Okay, these hyena are heading towards where the carcass are, and they're getting excited. You can see their tails lifting up, but they know that there's lion here. They'll also be able to smell the lion, but they're getting very, very excited. Wonderful. Well, I'm just trying to get ourselves into the right spots in case something happens. Now, here's a great shot if you can see the lion and the hyena in the same shot there. So that's awesome. The hyena is looking at the lion there, but they are going to try and get to this carcass and steal a little bit, slink away while these lion are sleeping. But it's a risky job that they're getting themselves involved in here. Hence they're toing and froing. But once they find this meat, it is going to be incredible to watch what happens, because the lions will certainly hear them chewing. These hyenas' jaws are extremely powerful, and as soon as they start crunching into the meat, I'm not sure how much meat is left, but there must be something here. Oh, there, I think I can see it in there. Hyena are moving all around us, folks. But I'm just trying to get us close to the meat. I've just seen the kill now. The lion are close to it, so I doubt these hyena are going to try anything. But let's see what happens. So the kill is just through in the trees over there. There it is. It's a dark patch, that's all we can see. And then, I don't know, Jason, if you can show them the lion to give you an idea of how close the lion is to the kill. So there's the lion, folks, fast asleep. And these hyena are getting closer and closer to this kill, and what I'm hoping is going to happen is that these lion are going to, or the hyena are going to pluck up the courage to try and get some of this meat. But the smell must be driving them absolutely crazy. And if they do try and steal some, then we'll get the lion coming and chasing them. Just trying to work out where the best spot is to be in case something does happen, and I think it would be for us to be just over here, because we can see the hyena over there. We can see the kill, which is just to the left in here, and we can see the lion, which is further to the left over there. Well done, Romeo. So now you've got the whole scene. The hyena on the bottom right, the hyena, the lion on the top left of the screen, and the kill in the middle. Okay. Now this is exactly what I was hoping for, folks. There's a bit of interaction between lion and hyena. It's something that we very rarely see in the Sabi Sands. Hyena, as you can see now, are very cautious of lion, and that is for obvious reasons. I must say though, in other areas where hyena have over time established dominance over the lions, that can be a very different story. So there can be situations where hyena will come in numbers and be able to chase lions off their kill, but that's highly uncommon in the Sabi Sands. Hence the behavior we're seeing right now, and that's very, very nervous hyena. They're obviously very hungry, but not willing to take the chance of sinking their teeth into this buffalo carcass. The lion only a few meters away, so I think the hyena have just stored this information up, and then in all likelihood will come back in the evening, and that is what a lot of the other hyena that we saw on the way in this morning to work before we started broadcasting. We saw about 10 hyena on the road. Now they could have established that these lions aren't going anywhere, and neither is the carcass for now, so they may return later in the evening, or maybe lying up a few hundred meters away where there's less danger of being attacked by a lion. But there will certainly be hyena lingering in this area until the lion move off, and that is when we would really want to be here, because if we could time it that we see all the hyena that now know about this kill being allowed access onto it, it's going to provide for a great show. I'm glad we did get to see those hyenas slinking around here, but they appeared to have disappeared. So I think we should reposition ourselves. Just got a question through from Bob. Good morning, Bob. Bob is asking whether hyena are more closely related to cats or dogs, and interestingly enough, they are more closely related to cats. Now, that's obviously got to do a lot more with their internal anatomy than their external anatomy, because they do appear more dog-like, certainly from the exterior. But, like I said, for various taxonomic reasons, they are more closely related to cats, which is interesting. So we would refer to their youngsters as cubs, not pups. Now this is the lion we were looking at. Thanks, Bob, though, for that question, and I hope that clears things up for you. Now this is the same lion that we were panning across to when we were on the other side of the bushes, closest to the buffalo carcass. And as you can all see, he's eaten himself into an uncomfortable state of affairs. Hence the short panting we can see, short sharp breaths. They've got so much meat pressed up against their diaphragm that they battle to breathe properly. which is a good situation to be in if you're a lion.
Morning, morning.
Morning, Ephraim. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, well, like I said earlier, there's still a lot of meat on this carcass, and I don't think these lions are going to give up on it anytime soon and or feed on it anytime soon. So I think until this evening, this sighting is not going to provide us with too much entertainment. So we could use this time best to try and find some other animals and see what else is going on out there. I think we did get very lucky with the timing to be able to see those hyena slinking about. So I'm really happy about that. But like I say, we can't expect too much excitement from here right now. So we will put this on ice until this evening. Oh, we'll just have this one little quick goodbye. Yeah, he's opened his eyes as we're leaving. But not for long. Beautiful. Good work on the camera there, Jason.
Thank you.
Alex, go ahead with that question. So I was just tweaking the volume. Just got a question through from Carolyn. Good morning, Carolyn. Welcome on board. Carolyn's asking what will happen with the bones and the skull and the horns from that carcass, and whether it could be taken as a souvenir. And from time to time people may take souvenirs such as this from the bush, and for me I don't think there's anything wrong with, or a huge deal wrong with, taking a set of horns out of the environment once or twice in your career in the bush. But there are animals that are evolved and specialized in breaking down those horns and getting them back into the nutrient cycle. So in a purist, if you're an absolute purist, you would say that we should leave absolutely everything out here. And I agree, because we should. There's a certain moth called the hornborer moth, which is highly specialized and has the ability to digest keratin, which is undigestible by most animals, and it's these animals that break down the keratin sheath, which covers the bony inner of the horn. And the skull itself of the buffalo will break down over time, but there's nothing that really feeds on it to a huge degree. So the bony skull and inner of a buffalo can often be found many years after a buffalo's died. But the ideal thing to do is to leave everything behind out here. The rest of the bones and the carcass, a lot of it will be eaten by the hyena, and that is their fundamental role in the ecosystem, to be able to break down those bones and again get the nutrients back into the nutrient cycle. But there are certain bones on a buffalo that are simply too big even for a hyena to chew on. Even though they might not be able to chew through the bones, though, they may carry them off. So often if you go back to a kill site, you can see as sometimes a skull if it's a big animal. Otherwise, often absolutely nothing. All the bones that have been taken away in different directions, and there can often be no sign of a kill remaining. So just a few days after it's happened. So that is an interesting thing to bear in mind. Now, what I would like to do, folks, just head towards the area where Karula Karula and Kunyuma were left yesterday with their remaining impala kill there last night. So they could well still be there. Like I said, the radio has been absolute chaos this morning, and it's often, sadly, yes, less useful than useful. So I'm not even sure if they are still there, but they could well be. So I'm going to find that out shortly. Can anybody update me on the sighting of giraffe dip of Karula and Kunyuma? Okay, copy, thanks. I am going to make my way there, if that's okay. Copy, thank you very much. Okay. Well, the good news is we aren't far away from that area, and apparently a few vehicles did go past there this morning. So there was a leopard in that area this morning, a bit earlier, and I believe there's no one there now. So let's see what happens when we get there. Alex, could you please confirm for me if Quarantine has been seen anywhere? Was he seen yesterday? And was it just Kunyuma and Karula that were left there? Okay, wonderful. Well, according to Alex, it was only Karula and Kunyuma there yesterday, and that makes sense because that was the last update I had. I was wondering to myself if Quintine hasn't somehow managed to get wind of the situation and is also in the area. I also wouldn't be surprised if Karula is there, because I'm fairly convinced the tracks of the female leopard we followed this morning, female leopard we followed this morning, would have been hers. So potentially it's just Kunyuma there, and with a bit of luck, Quarantine, his brother, would have also smelt the easy meal and potentially also be there. Two brothers that are now 2 years old. They're still clinging on a bit closer than they should be to their mother and her hunting skills. I suppose that's fairly common in life, that kids like to hang around and enjoy the benefits of home, and that's exactly what these two have been doing. They're still very much deep in their mother's territory and their father's, and their father will tolerate this up to a point. But only up to a point, and then you'll certainly think, oh, nice, Romeo. Sorry, buddy. I was a split second too late there. Jason saw a beautiful bird called a plum-colored starling, and that is why he shouted out for me to stop. But sadly, it has disappeared. But well spotted there, Jason. Okay. I really love descending down into little riverbeds. It's always so exciting because and they are just simply beautiful to gaze down. But yeah, today sadly what I'm fearing about the sighting we're going to is just full-bellied. Kunyuma, the leopard, you were seen here earlier this morning, is also going to be full-bellied. And when they are full-bellied, they sleep. Which is better than not viewing any leopard at all, don't get me wrong, but it's typically more exciting when you see them on the move. Like I say, we don't know what other factors to expect in this equation that we're going to, because there could well be quarantine in the mix. There could well be some hyena in the mix. And even though we haven't had rain for a few days, you can tell by the state of these roads that the rain that we did have, that finished about 4 days ago, had a long-lasting effect on the water level. Yeah. Everything okay there, Jason? Good. If you're planning on going anywhere, don't, because in a minute's time we are going to be arriving at a leopard sighting, a potential leopard sighting. There is nobody there at the moment, but we know that a leopard was left here earlier this morning. I'm not sure how much meat is remaining of the two carcasses. And to recap, for those of you who weren't following the last few days of drive, there it is. Not where I was expecting to find it, but beautiful nonetheless. This is quite a way off. Well, when I say quite a way off, it's probably 500 meters from where the kill was to where we can see this leopard. And I'll get my binoculars out and have a quick look to try and establish who it is. We will get close up. That looks like it could be quarantine. Now I would like to certainly double check this a little bit closer, but as far as I'm aware, this is the quarantine male, not Kunyuma. No, just trying to not get too close, but close enough to have a good view of them. So that's probably it there. Good. Now, judging by those spots above his whisker line, two are joined together that you can see, and then there's another two individual ones. So it's essentially he's got a 3-3 spot pattern, but two of the spots on his right hand side of his muzzle are joined. So those two that are joined are, we can count as one or two, depending on however you want to remember it. But those two that are joined furthest away from his nostril can be counted as one. And then moving towards his nostrils, you can see a medium-sized spot and then a very small spot. So those are the three on the right-hand side of the muzzle, and on his left-hand muzzle, he's got three more similar-sized spots. So that is how I've established that this is quarantine. Now I wonder if he does know where the kill is, because it's only 500 meters away, or if he's just nearby through default. So what would be nice to do is spend a few minutes with him here, certainly. I would love to take some pictures of him. And once we've spent a little bit of time here, then we can continue on to where the kill was, and with a bit of luck see this beautiful specimen's younger brother, or not younger brother, equally aged brother. They're both 2 years of age. And what has just caused him to prick up his ears here? Wouldn't that be nice to know? Maybe just a change of position, which it looks like now. So we'll swivel around and have one look at him from the other side, and then make our way across to Kunuma, or where Kunuma was last seen. No, and now he's just put his head back to the side. So let's see if he'll look at us as we move on to the other side of this tree, which I fear he may not. There he is, he's still watching us. Not for long though. Come on, just have one more look at us now. I would like him to look at us so I can show the 3 spots on the other side of his muzzle, on his left-hand side of his muzzle. But we may have to come back to do that, because he is not interested in having a look at us. Very opposite agendas. We're very interested in looking at him, and he's completely disinterested in looking at us, but I don't blame him. We don't have as much to offer as he does, as far as looks go. Now folks, don't think I'm leaving that leopard because I don't love looking at leopards sleeping in trees. I do, but there could be another one very close by doing something else. So we absolutely spoiled this morning that we can just leave one leopard and head towards another, only 500 meters away. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Wow. Lion, hyena, leopard. Some seriously high-profile predators being seen this morning. As they have had a cracking 2015 so far, some incredible sightings. Just seen a Birchall starling take off from its nest. Let's just stop here for a second and see if it goes back. So Romeo, you can see the Birchall starling there. Okay. And then be ready for it to fly into that tree that you can see behind it. Okay, Jason, you copying me?
Copy.
And it's about 2 meters off the ground, the hole in that tree. So if it does fly there, you know where you're moving to. That tree and 2 meters down. Come on. It's thinking about it. It's looking across there. Come on, take us to your nest. I know where the hole is, but I'm just gonna leave Romeo, or Jason, aka Romeo, with the challenge of panning down as it flies down to the nest, and I think it's gonna do it soon. Come on. Not. Jason, maybe in the meantime, if it doesn't want to fly, pan down to that hole. There it is. So, in that hole you can see over there, on all likelihood, some baby Birchall starlings. that this mother or father had just fed some food. As we drove past here, I saw it hanging off the side of that tree and depositing some food into the hole. It really is a great time of year, and I really do enjoy knowing where all these birds' nests are, because they do allow us to keep track of some smaller families, not just the leopard families or the lion families, but some of the smaller, less well-known families. But it appears that there's the way into its nest, and that is fine. Okay, now anywhere in this big green tree on our right could be a leopard. There was a baby impala left up that tree that had been killed by Karula. Last seen, so will it still be there? Would it have moved? And would Kunyuma still be here? Okay, at the moment it's looking like none of the above are here, but that can all change. The impala was left exactly where Jason is panning or zooming into now. So that is where the baby impala was left and unfed on up until last night, yesterday evening. So now that we've scanned this tree properly and found no sign of the baby impala, we need to venture deeper into this riverbed and see what we can find. Now, Kunyuma for some reason can be a little bit aggressive towards the vehicle, so it is something worth bearing in mind that if he does charge us or give us a little bit of a snarl, it's simply his personality. He's been exposed to exactly the same treatment from humans as his brother Quarantine, who we just looked at, and Quarantine is completely relaxed. So just like humans, leopards do have personalities, and Kunyuma has somewhat of an aggressive personality.
Feisty.
Feisty, that's a good word, Jason, thank you. Where are you? Where are you hiding? Now, what I can tell you about this area is that there are some exceptionally thick thickets that are hard to see into, and he could be lying in any one of them. I'm just driving here because I wasn't out yesterday. Okay, now Alex has just told me the thicket on the left that Jason's showing you is where he was last seen, and that's interesting because that's also where Karula slept, in the same thicket when she was here. 2 days ago there was an impala female up in this tree, this Tamboti tree, that Karula had killed. It was the mother of the baby impala that she killed the following day. So that has all been finished off, other than a little bit of fur and bone fragments that we can see on the ground here. There's a bone fragment and a little bit of fur to the left of it. Difficult to see, but that is all that's left from what used to be a female impala up that tree. And we will continue now looking for Kunyuma, who could be lying up in the thickets. Nope, no sign of him in there. There's a little gap that Jason's just zooming into to show you where him and Karula had been lying while they were feeding on the skill. But because now there's evidently no sign of any food in this area, he could well have moved off. Judging by Quarantine's belly, it looked like he may have been involved in finishing up this kill, but hard to tell. He may have simply just made a kill of his own that he's been feeding on. So no sign of Kunyuma. And no sign of the baby impala that was left up this tree last night. And I didn't expect it to be. They would have been able to find space to finish that off, or he would have, Kunyuma would have, over the course of last night. Okay. So no sign of the second brother, which means we shall head back to Quarantine and see what he's up to. I'm hoping they interact, because for us to see that would be incredible. I've never seen them together, and it would be very interesting to see how they tolerate one another and how they behave with one another. I'm guessing they'd still be fairly playful with one another, but if there's no meat involved, if there's meat involved again, it would be interesting to see who was dominant out of the two, Quarantine or Kunyuma. And thankfully he is still there in the tree, but he appears to have changed positions. He's in the marula tree directly in front of us, and it looks like he's just swiveled around to a slightly different position. Okay. I'm wondering where our best angle is going to be from now. I think we're going to have to go around in order to get this shot. Okay. Beautiful. Well, he's got a very interesting pillow technique that he's employed there. It does look comfortable though. I'm not sure for how long one could sustain that position. It's certainly an interesting position he's chosen. Now I'm hoping he's going to get up for us and do something, so I think it will be worth spending a little bit of time with him here. even though it could be here this time this afternoon, I think it is, like I say, worth spending a little bit of time with them. It is such a beautiful sight to see a leopard up a marula tree. It is the tree that we do predominantly find them up in this area of Africa, and that's because marulas are numerous in this area and they are exceptionally comfortable. And what Jason can do is he can just take on a little bit of a tour through this marula tree, and you'll see that there's many different spots for him to lie. Just so many horizontal branches, thick horizontal branches that are just so comfortable for leopards. And I have driven past this marula on countless drives. It's very close to Voyatella Dam here, and every time I drive past I wonder how many leopard it's hosted in its lifetime. And I also wondered when it was going to be the first time, or if we would manage to see one up here, and here we are. And now every time we drive past this marula, or myself and Jason, we are always going to think about this sighting, that is for sure. And it's so nice over the months to build up this memory bank of different places where you've seen special sightings, so that when we are out on drive, even if we're not necessarily looking at anything and it may be a quiet drive, passing by a certain tree or a certain area reminds us of the sightings we've been so lucky to have out here. Just got a question come through from Tyler in Michigan. Good morning, Tyler. And Tyler's asking if Kunuma, I think it was, would have stolen the kill from Karula. And yes, her and Quarantine, who we're looking at now, will both actively steal from their mothers, and they are bigger than their mother, and they are bigger than her now. So the fact that they are bigger and stronger than her means that they will steal kills from her, potentially to a point where they won't even tolerate her feeding on it anymore. So it can certainly happen like that, and that's why she's going to try and get them out of her territory as soon as possible, so that she doesn't have to worry about them stealing her food. That's her hard-won food. And yes, theft is common out here. It's commonplace. Stealing between the same species. Male leopard will steal from female leopard, as has happened here with definitely Kunuma and potentially this individual Quarantine. And lion will steal from leopard, lion will steal from cheetah, leopard will steal from cheetah. So whoever's bigger and stronger than the next individual will have the most food to feed on, and that's how it works out here. He's looking a little bit restless, folks, and his stomach, he looks comfortably full, but not bursting at the seams like the lion were earlier this morning. And I'm hoping this slight movement we're seeing from him and the fact that he's not too full-bellied is a sign that we may have him up and moving shortly. So it will certainly be worth spending more time with him, and we're not going to rush off anywhere. As far as I'm aware, still been listening to the Game Drive channel. There's not too much excitement elsewhere this morning, so that is good news. Excuse me. Thank you. What are you thinking, young lad? Are you going to go and do some hunting this morning? Or are you just going to relax up in this marula tree? What is the plan? Again, the orange-breasted bush shark calling. And another one that's going relatively similar to that whistle I just did is the Deirdre's cuckoo. Two very pretty birds that sadly we hear more often than we see. Crested barbets also calling. I think it could actually even be sitting in this marula tree. Jason, can you see the crested barbet? I'm sure it's in this marula tree.
I'm looking, hold on.
Just judging from the sound of the call, it sounds like it's sitting in the same tree as this leopard, but we can't see it from this angle. The marulas at this time of the year are very thick with leaves and fruits. Hence the reason why we can't see this crested barbet, but we can hear it. We've just got a question that's come through from Kristen on Twitter. Morning, Kristen. Welcome on board. Now, Kristen's asking whether leopards are opportunistic hunters, and they certainly are. Most predators that I know of across the whole planet are opportunistic, and the reason for that is that they simply don't know when they are going to get their next opportunity to kill. And even though they are evolved and highly adapted and skilled at hunting, their prey species are equally well evolved and adapted at escaping the predators. So it's not an easy thing to catch food as a predator, and therefore they take every opportunity they can get because they don't know when the next opportunity will be to feed. And that's exactly why Karula continued to kill the impala lamb the other day, even though she had plenty of meat left from that same impala's mother she had killed the night before. And on more than one occasion in my history with leopard, I've found leopards with two different kills up two different trees, so that gives you an idea of how they certainly are opportunistic hunters. I wish I knew what he was looking at across there. He doesn't seem too phased about it, especially now he's getting even more comfortable. But he was peering out in that direction for quite a long time. I'm just going to try and creep forward ever so slightly. He's completely relaxed with us, so it's not an issue. And it will just improve the view slightly. There we go. Maybe I was having a fight with the little bush next to us, so... Well, that's a beautiful shot that's been framed. Natural framing there. Giving an idea of the vista behind this leopard. And I wonder now if we can see this crested barbet from our changed position. We can still hear it calling. But it sounds to be... Where are you hiding? Oh, this is frustrating. It's right here, meters from us. Calling, but sadly we can't show you any of that. I wonder if this crested barbet's letting off this call because it's not happy that there's a leopard in its tree. It could well be. It could very well be the reason why it is calling so persistently. Having said that, that hasn't been calling the whole morning now, and the leopard has been here, well, the whole morning that we've been with this leopard, so who knows exactly what's going on. But it certainly is calling rather intensely. Got a very nice question through from Jeffrey in Texas. Well, he's asking whether leopards will jump down onto prey from a tree like this, and they certainly will. There's been several different clips captured of leopards jumping down onto prey, and the most recent one I saw was really incredible. The leopard must have jumped down about 8 or 9 meters. There's a photographic sequence of it literally coming down from this tree, and like I say, 8 or 9 meters, very high, and it was coming down vertically, nose first, tail directly above its nose, absolutely vertical, plummeting straight down onto an impala. So they do it. They do certainly do it. And who knows, if something may walk past this tree, the leopard may jump down onto it. It hasn't been something that I've ever seen live, but it certainly does happen. So, good question. And again, it just goes to show how they do take whatever opportunities they can get, these animals, to feed themselves. I've got a good feeling about him getting up, folks. I really do. That yawn that he let out earlier was also a good indicating sign to me that he could well become active again shortly. The other footage I saw of a leopard jumping out of a tree, I've only seen two different actual clips. One was in Botswana, the most recent one, when the leopard jumped down about 8 meters. But another one was filmed in the Sabi Sands, and it was a leopard that did jump. Oh, big yawn. It was from a leopard that lived in the Sabi Sands and also enjoyed spending time up marula trees. Again, folks, these yawns are good signs that this leopard is going to get up and move. Maybe it wants to go down for a drink at Vuyatela Dam, who knows? Either way, I think he's going to be getting up in the next few minutes. Just got a question through from Blair, morning Blair, asking how high up in the tree is quarantine, and what Romeo is going to do now is just pan around and give you a better idea of how high it is up the tree. And it's not very high, as you can tell, and a very, very easy marula to climb. Usually the trunk isn't nearly as angular as this one is. So one of the easier marulas this leopard will climb in its life, and not very high, but marulas typically do start forking out at about this height, at around 2.5, 3 meters to 4 meters. The canopy starts to spread open. It really is such a beautiful tree and setting, and that is why I am taking so many pictures that you can hear snapping off. And if any of you would like to see the pictures that I do take, your best bet would probably be my Facebook page, Scott Dyson Safaris. So follow there if you would like to see the end result of the pictures I'm snapping off here, and of my other adventures along the way. Other questions coming through, and thank you very much for all the questions. We really do appreciate it. And this one's from Dave in Toronto. Morning, Dave. And Dave has asked whether leopards are ever albino or black, and the answer to that is yes. However, I must mention that they aren't when they are the white form or the lighter shade, it's not necessarily albinism or an albino. It's simply leucistic. So leucistic is a paler gene. There was a marula fruit that just dropped. I'm not sure if you heard that thud, and that's why he opened his eyes there. Leucistic would cause them to be a very pale white color, but not albino. Albino would have a different pigment, and you typically don't get albinos in a natural environment like this. In captive breeding, that would be more likely. But the leucistic gene is a white gene, causing them to be paler in color. They're not completely white. Their rosettes that you can see, which are black now, become a paler, very light brown, and their general... What has he heard? Something's certainly getting his attention. I'm not sure what it is, but it certainly is getting his attention. So that is the leucistic gene that I speak of, the white. What can we hear? You can certainly hear something, folks. I can't, and obviously their hearing's much better than ours. But something has caught his attention up there. What exactly, I'm not sure. And now his attention's on us. But now, sorry Dave, back to your question. The leucistic gene causes them to be a paler form, a paler shade, whereas the melanistic gene causes them to become black in color. And again, you can still see the rosettes vaguely, especially in sunlight on black leopards. And you do get both in South Africa and throughout Africa, leucistic and melanistic leopards. There are certain areas where you are more likely to see them. And sadly, these areas aren't very common, and I've never seen a wild black leopard, or a leucistic one for that fact. But I have seen a dead leucistic one, sadly, that was run over outside of a park area. So that was interesting to see the fur coloration of one. It had been mounted or stuffed. So other than that leucistic leopard, I haven't seen any. And there are, like I say, also melanistic leopard in South Africa, black leopard. But again, not in areas where commercial lodges have been operating for long, and therefore they are not habituated and are very seldom seen. Wouldn't it be nice to know what's going through this leopard's head today, folks? And wouldn't it also be nice to know where Kunyuma could be, his brother? I really would love to see them interact together. There have been sightings of this individual quarantine, his brother Kunyuma, equal age, similar in size, their mother Karula and their father Mvula, so 4 leopards in one sighting, which must have been really incredible. I've once in my life seen 5 leopards in a sighting, and that was also quite an interesting story. It was a female with 2 cubs of about 4 or 5 months old at this stage, 1 male, 1 female, her 2-year-old son that's lingering around much like quarantine is. So that's 4 of them, plus their father, 5. So a father, a mother, and 2 different generations of leopards in one sighting was one of my craziest leopard sightings. And it could well have happened if Karula didn't lose her cubs, or cub. There's mixed reviews or debates as to whether she only lost or whether she lost another cub on another property. We heard a message that she had, and now we're hearing conflicting messages that we didn't. Either way, we can confirm that she certainly lost one cub to hyena, and any other cubs that she may have had, which she in all likely did have, possibly a second and a third, were also killed by something else. So sadly this time around she lost all of her cubs, and it's the first time she has lost all of her cubs. She has had an exceptionally good strike rate with raising cubs up to date, and she's raised 7 out of 8 successfully. But this time round she sadly wasn't lucky. If she was though, wouldn't that have been a thing, seeing the 2 brothers, 2 young cubs, a mother and a father? We could have potentially seen all 6 together, which would have been magical. Oh. A question from Ginny from Virginia. Good morning, Ginny. And Ginny's asking how the different seasons affect hunting habits. Now, to give you an idea of the effect the seasons have on the vegetation, summer is lush and green with strong chances of rain. Look at this go-away bird freaking out here in the tree. Look at this go-away bird getting really excited about the leopard it's just found. It's been sitting in this tree for quite a while now, but it's taken a while for it to start doing this frantic dance around, which has already attracted more go-away birds into the tree. And here's the crested barbets. 2 of them actually. Their nest is probably nearby in this tree here, probably coming out of that dead log, and we've just seen them jump out. So have you got them there, Romeo? There's some. Oh, there it is. You got it there. There's the crested barbets. But it's all of these birds are getting a bit hyped up now by one another. And fair enough, there's a leopard lying in the tree that in all likelihood these crested barbets are probably nesting in that branch that it's just landed on, because it is dead and hollow. So let's watch closely. Such pretty birds, the crested barbets. Let's watch if the hole's not on the other side of that dead branch. Look at the leopard looking up at it. That's awesome. Now the leopard's watching them. Sorry folks, it's all happening here all of a sudden. These birds are getting worked up. It might get the leopard worked up. There you can see the go-away bird in the top and the leopard in the bottom. That's awesome. Well done, Romeo. Now what's interesting to note is that even though they do have this quang call that they can let off as an alarm, letting other animals know that predators are around, they aren't doing it now. They're just jumping around frantically. Wouldn't it be nice if this crested barbet flew down and pecked the leopard on the head? That would be a serious show of bravery, and I have seen crested barbets doing some incredibly brave work out here in the bush, but mainly chasing snakes and bomb diving snakes that have been made aware of by other birds, and then the crested barbets come in as the police to chase them away. That's the crested barbet calling there now. I'm wondering if you can see it, Romeo. It'd be nice to try and get it. Oh, I can see another one that's not calling, so that's not helping us. Oh, now they're both going for it. Both of the crested barbets are calling now. But sadly, due to the kind of frantic scenario that they find themselves in, with the leopard probably just a few meters away from their nest, they are jumping around and making filming them very difficult. But that is them calling. There's an Egyptian goose complaining about something down at the dam in the background that you can hear. What is it that is bothering you, the Egyptian goose? Anyway, all the birds are getting worked up and it makes for good audio whilst looking at this leopard. Oh, are you going to get up? Yes, you are. So he's just changed back into the position that he was initially in when we arrived this morning. Sadly, no major change. I was hoping he was going to come down the tree for us, but possibly later on. Oh, hippo getting involved now. Hippo's getting excited about something. What a beautiful, beautiful sight. Now we can see the spots on the left-hand side of his muzzle, and you can see it's 3 individual spots that come out of those black dotted whisker lines. So just above that dotted whisker line where the whiskers are coming out, you'll see 3 individual black spots in the caramel colored part of his coat close to his nostrils. And he has 3 on his right and 3 on his left, but the 3 on his right, the back 2 are joined, so it's a kind of 2 in 1 on its right hand side and 3 on the left, whereas Kunuma has got 4 on the left and 3 on the right. Alex, if you could just, is that leopard up a tree at the waterhole? Because that's where I am. We are basically at that marula tree in line with the dam wall as you go over the dam wall. So as you go over the dam wall and up that little hill on the left, we are parked there. I'm not sure where the leopard is on the webcam. Folks, Alex is just letting me know that there's a leopard on the webcam. You know, so I can see the camera, the webcam camera from where we are here, so it possibly can see this leopard, or it's looking at another leopard, possibly Kunuma. And I'm not going to drive off and go and look, because it could well be that He is looking at this leopard on the webcam. So just wait for a confirmation before heading off. If anybody on Twitter can confirm, Alex, are you not getting the waterhole camera feed? Anyway, we'll work it out shortly, I'm sure. Okay. So, anybody, folks, if anybody is watching the webcam, if you could confirm whether the webcam's showing a leopard up a tree, the same one we're looking at, and from the angle of where the web camera is, it should be pointing, it should have the leopard's tail first with its head on the opposite end of the picture. The leopard's facing kind of directly away from the webcam. Or we could potentially just go for a drive and have a look. Let's go for a drive and have a look what's going on. We are just waiting for confirmation here, but in the meantime I'm just going to reposition and have another look from a slightly different angle where we can see the majority of the dam. I can see some buffalo in the water. And that is all. Okay. Oh, he's just let off a big yawn. Maybe he's going to want to come down at any given second. Oh. What is he looking at down there? Hard to tell. Just such beautiful views of him, folks. You can't get enough of this. A leopard up a beautiful big marula tree like we're looking at. Absolutely magical. trying to look back behind us. There's an open clearing and road. Something seems to have his attention, but there's been different things catching his attention all morning. Come on, come down the tree. Another big yawn, maybe. Get up and come down for us. Come on. Really, I'm hoping he is going to come down soon, but it's hard to tell what will happen. And judging by the fact that there's not too much else going on out there that we know of today, I think it would be in our best interest to stay here for the rest of the morning. Who knows, maybe Kunyuma will pop up. Or who knows, maybe something will walk past that catches his attention. What have you seen up there now? There's going to come a point where... There we go. Absolutely beautiful. Look at this, folks. I'm sure, like I said, judging from his restless behavior, that he's going to start doing something for us fairly soon. If he comes down this tree, it will be so beautiful, but he's not quite ready yet. Okay, now that changes my thoughts a bit as to the fact that I thought he was going to get moving there. Having said that, though, it is very difficult to leave an animal like this, because I know how hard it can be to find them and how many days we can go for without seeing them. Although if things continue as they have been so far this year, we are going to have a great next month, because we've had incredible predator sightings over the last few days. Ooh. Now the way it just lifted up its head like that means something is going to happen shortly. So maybe another leopard was seen at the dam and now it's approaching, or maybe this is a prey item. But his body language is certainly far more intense, far more intense than we've seen it this morning. He's been gazing around, seeing things, hearing things, but his body language now indicates that he's excited about something. Now, what could it be? I'm inclined to want to wait here before heading off in the direction he's looking in, and just establish what he does, and then make a decision as to what to do next. If it's a prey item, he would need to come down the tree and move towards it. If it's another leopard, he may be very nervous and he may run away. And come towards us. Or it could be nothing major and nothing may happen. But that body language certainly did appear to indicate that he was more excited than he has been this morning. But now he appears to have calmed down again. Anyway, we will keep an eye on the situation. Oh, he's up again. Now, is he going to come down the tree and stalk whatever it is he saw there? Let's hope that happens. I thoroughly hope that happens. He's still looking there. Come on, come down the tree. If he does come down the tree, folks, we're going to have the most beautiful view, because we are on the side of the trunk that he's certainly going to walk head down at a beautiful angle past us. Come on. Here you go. Here you go. Here you go. No, nearly. Nearly, but not quite. Incredible camouflage. And you can imagine driving past at this angle, you could quite easily not see him. Come down, Quarantine, and show us your hunting skills. There are a lot of impala that live in this area surrounding the Vuyatela Dam. And my guess is that that's what it's looking like. Now, they do move from this northwestern side of the dam down past literally where we're sitting. They would almost naturally pass under this tree. And imagine if we did see them pouncing down from the tree onto an impala. After we spoke about it earlier this morning. Either way, even if that doesn't happen, they could well be moving towards us. And that could cause his behavior to be what it is now, and that is rather to wait than to come down the tree. Rather wait for them to approach. It really would be wonderful to experience how much better their senses are than ours, their hearing, their sight, their smell. Obviously the fact that he is elevated now puts him in a better position than us because he's got a good vantage point from up there. But just the way his ears keep picking up and honing in on those sounds. I'm going to move the vehicle ever so slightly so that we can see a bit more of his body movements or gestures. There we go. Now we can see his head and ears focused and locked on in that direction he's looking in. Oh, here we go. Okay. Well, again he's done it, and he's just lying down. And relaxing, as he should be. Having said that though, he still is looking out in that same direction vaguely, and even though the impala may only be 50 meters away, leopard can be lazy, and so can lion, even though they are opportunistic. They've got their own definitions of a good opportunity, and sometimes 50 meters away during the daylight isn't a good opportunity. They'd rather actually wait until nightfall with the cover of darkness, or for their prey items to be in surroundings that make it easier for the predator to stalk them. He simply can't get comfortable in this tree, so I don't know why he doesn't either find another spot or come and walk down it for us. I would love him to walk down this tree for us. It will be such a beautiful shot as he walks down the 45-degree slope of this trunk. It's a very abnormally shaped marula, but its abnormal shape is very, very pretty. I'm not sure what's making him restless, but he certainly has been restless the whole morning, and that's what's kept us here, is the fact that he keeps showing us these glimmers of hope that he may well be deciding to move on at any stage. Beautiful, it happened, folks. It happened. Absolutely magical. He came down the tree eventually. And he seems to be heading towards whatever was getting his attention out there. Wonderful. Or is he just looking for a more comfortable spot to relax? Time will tell. I am going to use the road here as opposed to following him off-road. That way we just disturb him less and whatever may be ahead of him less. We can get to loop ahead and hopefully park the vehicle in front of him and get him to walk past us. Oh, there he looks like he's heading towards us now already. Well, folks, our patience paid off, and now we are watching this beautiful leopard on the move. Like I say, as much as I love watching them up trees, sleeping, having them on the move is the ultimate, because at any stage when they are moving, they could potentially find something to catch now. It's not uncommon for leopard to stop and start like they are for their own benefit, not necessarily when looking for prey, but when looking out for lion or other potential leopard. He does seem to be stalking though, folks, so let's see what happens. He is a young male. He may not be sorry folks, it is difficult for Jason to follow on the camera now, but it is important that I try and... There we go, there's a nice gap. He's looking at whatever he can see ahead there, and he's just sitting on a little log. If I roll forward it may... Come on, go forward. No, I'll creep forward a little. There we go, there's a... Well, no. The camera's slightly higher than me, but I thought I'd be able to get you into a little window there. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue to creep ahead of him, and that way we can get a shot of him coming directly towards us, and it'll also mean that we can see what is up ahead here, what is catching his attention up ahead here. What is it? It's an impala. And I can see it. Jason will be able to try and show you through a gap. Is there a gap? Not really.
Keep going. There you go.
Okay, so that is the impala. I'm guessing that he can see. Well done, Jason. What we're gonna do is get, unless there's something even closer, like a mongoose or something that he's looking at. The cherry comes straight towards us, so it is that impala that he can see, definitely. Okay, and here he comes. Beautiful. You can see he is very, very intent. But what I can tell you is he's got another 60 meters to go before he's in pouncing distance. So the odds of him catching something are very, very slim. But look at that, look at that. What is he growling at? What is getting his attention here? Is there another leopard? Why? Oh, I think it's because the impala ran off and now he's growling in frustration. I think that's what's going on here. I can look back. Oh no, the impala is still there. The impala is still there, but look at how incredible his facial expressions are, folks. Look at this. And his tail twitching. This is incredible. Absolutely wonderful. Yeah, if you just hold on that front button there, Jason, and then the top button, yeah. Perfect. Good. Now go ahead. I'm with Quarantine now. He's showing interest in an impala. Just if you just follow Mvubu Road from the dam wall. Sorry, my radio keeps cutting out, but just drive along Mvubu Road past the dam. You'll see us here. Mvubu Road, so just keep going down central basically, and instead of turning to go over the dam wall, come towards us. Okay, copy, but yeah, we're just on the northern side of the dam. What wonderful, wonderful expressions we're seeing here. Sorry about having to chat on the radio there, but it is important for us to share this information with everyone. But this behavior that we're seeing now is worth every second that we waited for it sleeping in the tree. I've never seen a leopard snarl and get so worked up when looking at an impala, so that was certainly a first for me, and really, really interesting. He's probably already snarling in frustration, knowing that he's got no chance of catching this thing, and he's probably been evaded by many, many impala over the last few weeks. He's between you and me, and the impala's behind me. If you come alongside us here, okay, well, this other vehicle is joining us now, folks, so that will be the noise you hear. Oh, look at his body language, folks. Certainly pricked up a lot. And it'll certainly be interesting to see what he does do over the next half an hour, because like I say, he's got about 60 meters to cover before he gets close enough to this impala, and it is probably going to use our vehicle now as cover. We're not helping it in any way, it's just that we are between it and the impala. So he could well come very close to us. The impala is on its own, which makes this leopard's odds far greater in catching it, but it is a long, long way off. But there's a fair amount of cover now between the leopard and the impala, so let's see what happens. Just going to have to try and turn the vehicle around, folks, to allow Jason to be able to show you what's going on. And basically, from where the leopard is now, the impala is further through to on the right. I'm just going to try and stay as far away from this as possible, but still give you guys a view of what's going on. And I think we will be able to find a spot here where we're going to have minimal or no impact on what happens here. And there it is. Okay, this is as good as it's going to get for now. So the leopard's just here on our right, the impala's directly in front of us. Look at this, folks. This is incredible. It's still got a lot of work to do. A lot of work to do. There's a large distance between it and the impala now. Oh, there's the impala there. So I'm not going to move a muscle because this is a great shot for you all to see what's happening. This is beautiful, folks. This impala is certainly very alert because it's on its own. Oh, it can maybe smell the leopard because you can see that it's coming straight towards the leopard, folks. This could get interesting. Oh, no. The leopard was too slow. But that was awesome. That was incredible. We're so lucky to have seen that. Awesome. Whew. My heart is pounding. Absolutely pounding. That was incredible, folks. And let's see a frustrated leopard now. It may vocalize in disgust. And even though that impala headed towards it, folks, and it was probably 7 or 8 meters away, not far, it was too far for the leopard. But didn't we get spoiled, and don't we continue to get spoiled? I mean, it's just incredible what we've seen over the last few days. It really is. So the luck continues, and I'm so glad we stayed with this animal. Well done with the camera, Jason. A lot of positive feedback there from the viewers. So good work. And thank you for your kind words, folks. You may scent mark here, yeah. And if we were to get out now and go and sniff around where you just scent marked, we would smell a strong buttered popcorn smell, which we may even be able to smell now. After you, Craig. Yeah, 100%. Folks, we've spent so much time with him, and Craig has just arrived, and we have been in pole position the whole time, so we'll let him go ahead.
Where did Kabilo go?
Didn't see him. When we arrived, there was no sign of him there, so we just found him lying up in this marula tree. Okay, cool, Craig. We'll catch you now, buddy. Whew. Well, I mean, really, the luck we've had in the last few days has been phenomenal, folks, and I will keep reiterating that because, I mean, just what we've just seen in the last 5 minutes was incredible, that excitement I felt, and the leopard felt, and probably the impala felt as well when it realized there was a leopard hot on its heels. Just so fortunate animals living naturally, having their days, being able to view them patting and stalking and being as elusive and incredible as they can be. It would have been interesting to see if things played out differently if that was Karula, an older, more experienced leopard, but he certainly did get lucky, and when that impala started heading towards him, I thought that we were going to get spoiled with another kill, but Not today. Not today. Now, thankfully, with the vehicle that we're in, we're going to be able to follow him through this area he's just headed into, whereas Craig, who's in the other game view, is going to battle. So I'm glad we gave him that little opportunity to... Oh no, it's still on the road. I thought it had headed off into the thicker vegetation. That was good timing if I've ever seen it, Craig.
Yeah, caught that portal from opposite side.
So folks, imagine being in Craig's vehicle. I mean, they arrived here and they were straight into the thick of things with watching Quarantine doing his little hunt that we saw now. We've got 20 minutes left, so it'll be interesting to see how far he does go or what he ends up doing in the next 20 minutes. There's a stretch of riverbed to the left of the road that he may well head down to at some stage. But there's only one way to find out. And that's by following him, so following him we will do. Again folks, I am just going to give Craig some time up ahead, because if this animal does go off the road, we will be able to stay with it far easier than he will, and we have also spent far longer with it than he has, so we are just sharing as much as we can this morning, and then when we're having a quiet morning one day, hopefully he'll give us the same treatment. There's a rattling testicle up in this tree, a little bird, but makes a serious racket and could well be shouting at the leopard. And it's just a bird that we don't often get to see, but we often hear. Can you see at the top of the tree there, Jason? No. Oh, there we go, no worries. Jason just caught the end of it flying off there. Okay. Sorry, Jason was on the wrong side of the vehicle though to show that little bird, so probably wasn't the best idea on my behalf to get him to show you. Anyway. Because he's slinking through a slightly muddier section of road, so obviously trying to keep his paws clean. Okay. Just to let you know, Romeo is trying to frame the leopard in shots as much as possible and not the game viewer. So that is why his camera work may have appeared to have deteriorated slightly, but he is trying to not frame the other vehicle, as the guests on board will potentially not be happy, so we try and avoid that. And that is a little excuse I've just not made up for him. You know, it's not an excuse, it's a valid reason. And now he is heading down into an area where he was probably born, actually, in and around the lodge. There's this road that he's heading down now. Not too sure, but let's go and find out. I'll pull you out if you get stuck, don't worry.
I was going to say, we can always get the language to put it out.
So you did hear Craig mention that he asked how wet the road was down here, and it should be fine. Oh, what's he seen? When they sit down like that immediately and prick up their ears, it can be a sign that they have seen something. Hard to tell what, but something appeared to get his attention there. Alright. Whatever it was is no longer an issue for him. I've never followed him through this area, so this is really great for me to learn and understand areas that they could move to, so that if we do find their tracks in this area, we've got an idea of a path that they may take. Now, I believe we shall be engaging in a little bit of off-roading in order to ensure we stay with them, but it's probably not entirely necessary yet, because he is still moving along the general direction of this road. But we need to just keep an eye on him, because in this kind of vegetation they can disappear very, very quickly. Get that tail twitching. What can you smell here that's getting you to really sniff around and check this area out quite intensely? The wind is blowing towards us, so maybe he can smell some food up ahead. Very gentle breeze coming towards us, but judging by his body language, I think there may be something up ahead here. Now, we'll try our best to creep through, but creeping and off-roading can often be two difficult things to tie in together. Are we going to fit through this gap? Oh, we could maybe make it. Yeah, let me just... I've just had a very interesting report come through on the radio. I just want to listen to where it was. Sadly, I don't think it's nearby us. There doesn't seem to be anything ahead of him. Jason, when last did you see him? He should still be up there. That's all good. Here he comes. See how he's lifting his head up, definitely smelling, so he could well smell something up ahead and we may simply just not have seen it yet. Beautiful.
Too close.
Too close for filming. Well, that's a problem we don't mind having. We certainly don't mind it. then the leopard comes too close to us. And if this is one of your initial drives or your first drive that you're following, it's important to realize that it's not like this every day. So try and soak in as much of this goodness as you can, because again, we are being spoiled. Absolutely spoiled rotten. I'm just not sure how to move forward from here, because actually I know what to do. We need to try and find a way to loop ahead of him. We're going to take the risk of losing visual of him now, because I'm fairly convinced there's something up ahead of him, and us being behind him is not going to help. Hold on, thank you. Oh, it's just so thick. Anyway, I can still see him, but ideally now we'd try and loop ahead of him completely so that sorry, I've got work, some serious work here for Jason, but thankfully there's no thorns on this tree. Unlike the one on the left coming up there though. Cool. I'm beginning to regret my decision to come in here, although that may change if we find a little clearing. As you can see though, it is very thick in here. We've still got the leopard though, which is fundamental, I guess, in what we're trying to achieve, and showing you some incredible footage of this beautiful animal. Great habitat for him to hunt in, because there is so much cover. And what you would have noticed from before is that even though that impala was close to him and you had a really good angle, an idea of how close it was to him, he still didn't manage to have any luck. Now he is going to creep up over this termite mound, and that's always pretty to see how they poke their heads over the other edge. Oh, the tail's twitching. What does that mean? What can he see? I'm guessing if he had have seen something, he would have flattened himself down quite slowly onto that termite mound. Therefore, the fact that he hasn't done this makes me wonder if there's anything there. It's certainly showing some okay, we've only got 10 minutes to go, and I'm trying to work out where I am exactly, and if there is a road that can get us around to a better angle for him. But I think our best option may simply be to sit here and wait. If he does move, we will try and either stay with him or loop ahead of him. But we do only have 10 minutes left. I've got a feeling we might be able to creep around, so I'm going to be ambitious and take a chance. Okay, this should work out. Watch out for the thorns on the left. That's a knobbly thorn. Well done. Well done. Okay, I think our little gamble shall pay off, because there is indeed the road here, and it is going to take us to a spot where we've got a perfect view across the river that he make that he's looking into. Wonderful. So he's going to the spectacular. Oi, where to go, where to go? Oi, where to go, where to go now? There we go. Hello. So now we are on the other end of the little riverbed that was below where he was sitting. He hasn't moved from where we were viewing him earlier. All that's changed is our position, and we've basically just flipped over from a direct view from behind him to a direct view from in front of him. Now, as Jason zooms out, you get an idea of how difficult these animals to see. Their camouflage is incredible. And the further he zooms out, the more of a real perspective you get of how far it is away from where we are now. Now, how do you propose you would spot a leopard in that jungle just driving past? Not easy. It certainly isn't easy, so thanks for showing us that perspective, Jason. And for any days when we can't find leopard, that right there is our excuse why. Oh, beautiful, he's going to come down towards us. I'm wondering what to do now. Oh, because due to the nature of this valley he's heading into, we sadly can't get every little step of his journey, but what I can do is try and get you one last little view, because he appears to have headed down the riverbed, and he may well be coming this way. Oh, past the vehicle. That was not ideal. Sorry, Jason. Getting a bit excited here, crashing into logs. Let's work. And he may have projected he was going to do. Oh no, he is going to. Whew. Now this is a quintessential spot to see a leopard. The sandy riverbed, and if he walks down it towards us, we are going to have a beautiful, beautiful, stereotypical view of a place where we may find leopard or leopard are associated with these riverbeds. He could plonk himself down there. It is a nice cool spot to relax. Or he could head upstream. Just 2 minutes left, folks, so we're just going to creep up there as long as we can. That way we'll know best to look for stuff. Okay. Going to try and see if this little pathway doesn't get us one last view of him heading up the riverbed. It may well not, because it's looking much thicker as we continue. But if he does continue, there is a small opening that we can see. So he's got 3 minutes in which to pop out here, folks, where we going to position ourselves now. If not, I'm sorry. We've done as much as we can to show you him this morning. What we need to make sure we don't do is fall down this steep bank. But if we wait here, there's a small chance he's going to come walking past. if not, folks, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Got off to a bit of a shaky start all over the show, but great to see the lion, even though they were sleeping, and their buffalo kill. What was most enjoyable about that is the fact that we got to see the hyenas sniffing around and investigating whether it was worth taking the risk of taking a bite out of that buffalo carcass. And then we came across looking for who was initially, oh, here he comes, we've hit the jackpot. He's still walking down this riverbed, and he is in all likelihood going to come into your view in the next minute, so I'm hoping you'll get one last shot of him before we close out. But what a great morning spent with quarantine. The majority of it he was up the tree, but subsequently he has, there he is, back in shots, he has stalked an impala. He actually got very close to it, and that was partly because the impala started heading towards him at one stage. But we've had a magical morning with him, and from Jason on camera and myself, we would like to thank you very much. Thank you for all the questions that you asked. I think he's going to climb up this tree. Don't do it. I'm going to try and reposition. So oh no. No, I missed that opportunity. Got it. Okay, well, that's difficult, folks, because if I go any further forward, we're going to end up on the other side of a cliff. So let me see if going back helps. Oh, back might be a better option. Okay, folks, well, we are out of time, and I'd just like to give you this final shot of quarantine this morning, and what a great shot it is. So from myself and Jason, thanks so much for joining, and we'll do our best to find this animal for you this afternoon. Until then, goodbye.